They're getting some breaking news in the investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie.
Puzzling new developments tonight in the ongoing search for Nancy Guthrie.
There's been a development in the search for Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie.
There are moments in an investigation when the ground shifts. Not because of one dramatic revelation, but because the version of events someone has been carefully maintaining simply stops holding together. That is what happened in the case of Nancy Guthrie. And when it happened, it changed everything. Nancy was 84 years old. She had a life built around consistency. Appointments kept, calls returned, routines followed. The kind of person whose absence is noticed immediately because her presence was always dependable. So when she stopped answering, stopped appearing, stopped being reachable, the people around her knew something was wrong before any investigation even began. The first thing investigators noticed was what was still there. Her car, sitting in the driveway. Her purse, inside the house. Her phone unmoved. Those details seem simple, but they are anything but. Because people who choose to leave take things with them. They take their phone. They take their keys. They make a decision, and they go. None of that happened here, which meant this was not a choice. Something had happened inside that home. The house itself told a story. No forced entry, no broken locks, nothing that suggested someone had pushed their way in. But the hallway floor told a different story. Scuff marks. Not random. Not the kind left behind by everyday movement. These were directional. Measured later at nearly 6 feet in length. That kind of mark does not come from a fall. It does not come from an accident. It comes from weight being moved deliberately. And once you understand that, the nature of the investigation changes entirely. Now investigators were not looking for someone who had wandered off. They were looking for what had happened and who had been there when it did. One name stood out. Not because of assumption, not because of suspicion without basis, but because of simple fact. Tommaso K1, Nancy's son-in-law, was the last known person to see her alive. In any investigation, that position matters. The final confirmed contact becomes the edge of everything known. And what came after that edge was what investigators needed to understand. Tommaso gave a timeline. He said Nancy had seemed fine. He said she had mentioned going out. He said nothing unusual had happened. On the surface, it sounded like the account of someone who had nothing to hide. But investigators do not work from surface impressions. They work from data. And the data said something different. His cell phone had moved. Not slightly, not in a way that could be explained by a short errand. Nearly 15 miles from the house. At a time he had told police he had never left. That is not a gap in memory. That is a structural break. And when one part of a story breaks, everything around it becomes unstable. The FBI came in not as support, but as lead. Because now this required a different level of precision. It required an interrogation. Most people imagine interrogations as confrontations. Raised voices, aggressive questioning, pressure applied directly. That is not how it works. Real interrogations are quiet. They are patient. They are designed not to force an answer, but to remove every place a false one can survive. The goal is not to break someone. It is to make the truth the only thing left standing. Tommaso sat down with federal agents presenting himself as expected, concerned, cooperative, someone who wanted answers. But investigators noticed immediately that his emotional presentation did not align with his behavior. And in their world, that misalignment is not proof of anything, but it is a signal. And signals tell you where to look. They started with simple questions. Where were you? What did you do? Who did you speak with? He answered calmly. But the agents were not focused on the answers yet. They were listening for consistency. And consistency is exactly where the first cracks appeared. When the phone data came up, something shifted.
His posture changed.
He reached for his collar. He adjusted in his seat. Small movements. But investigators know what stress looks like in a body because the body responds to pressure before the mind can catch up. He tried to explain the movement. Said he needed to drive. Said he needed space. But that explanation came after the evidence was shown to him. And the sequence matters. Truth comes first. Explanations follow later. When it is the other way around, the reason is usually obvious. The agents then began working on time. Not broad sweeping questions about the whole day. Specific windows. 10 minutes. 15 minutes. Walk us through this part again. That is the method because repetition does something that single questions cannot. It forces a story to remain consistent across multiple tellings. And when a story is constructed rather than remembered, repetition tears it apart. Tommaso's answers began expanding. More detail, not less. That is a critical signal because truthful accounts stay simple under repetition. Fabricated ones grow to compensate for the gaps. By the second hour, the agents had introduced evidence in layers. First the phone location, then a map, then tire impressions found at the secondary location. Impressions that matched his vehicle specifically, not broadly, specifically, which meant he was not just placed digitally at that location. He was placed there physically. The story he had been holding on to could no longer carry that weight. Silence became the most powerful tool in the room. Because when the agent stopped talking, Tommaso had nothing to push against. And people cannot sit inside silence comfortably when they are carrying something. They try to fill it. They try to explain it. And in doing so, they reveal far more than any question could extract. He looked toward the camera. More than once. That repeated behavior signals awareness. Awareness that the situation has moved beyond his control. Awareness that what comes next is permanent. When he finally began to shift, it did not come as a dramatic confession. It came quietly, a change in language. Instead of firm denial, something closer to it got out of control. That phrase matters more than it sounds because it moves the conversation from nothing happened to something happened, but. And once that door opens, it cannot be closed again. He described an argument. Not one that erupted suddenly, but one built on pressure over time. Financial tension. Things that had been sitting unresolved. He said she fell. He did not describe the moment precisely. He said it happened fast. And that is where investigators focused, not to challenge him, but to reconstruct. Walk us through it. Describe where you were standing. Describe the room. Because reconstruction can be tested. It can be compared against the physical evidence already collected, against the marks in the hallway, against the positions of furniture, against everything the house had already told them. What he described was not immediate action. He did not call for help. He did not check on her. He stood there. And then he began to manage the environment rather than respond to it. That distinction between reaction and decision is what changes the legal character of everything that follows. Nancy Guthrie has not been found, and that absence is the center of this case. Not the timeline, not the interrogation, not the evidence. Her. A woman with routines and relationships, and a life that did not stop mattering the moment she disappeared. Savannah Guthrie has continued speaking, not with speculation, with consistency. Her mother did not simply vanish. Something happened. Someone knows more than they have said. And the smallest detail, the one that might seem too minor to mention, might be the detail that changes everything. The FBI tip line is 1-800-CALL-FBI. Tips can be submitted online at tips.fbi.gov. A reward of $1.1 million is available and you can remain completely anonymous. Nancy Guthrie is not a case file. She is a person. And this search does not end until she is brought home.